All right. Good morning. Good Lord. Why did I end up doing that? There we go. Good morning. How you all doing? It's 10 a.m. It is Friday morning. Well, it's 10 a.m. right here in the Central Standard Time. And it is Friday morning. It is time for halftime headlines. Don't forget, you can go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button, and do all the things. Also don't forget that as far as you wanting me to do any reviews, anything like that, go ahead and hit the super chat, and I will do a review of any band program or anything like that that has happened in this past week. I know it has been a while since you guys have seen me. Luke felt like he had to take a little break. I took a week off, so I didn't report on anything. I got you, Malik. It's live. There we go. But yeah, I took a week off. Wanted to just be able to just sit back and gather my thoughts, get some things together. But I kind of watched everything, and so that's why you all didn't see an LBR or anything like that. So this is going to be my opportunity to get some of that stuff out. Also, again, don't forget you can get anything in our store. All you got to do is go to our store, obviously, and put anything in your cart, and you can get 30% off your purchase. And all you got to do is type in HBCU band. So I'm going to actually take this time right now to cover all the things or most of the things that I didn't have the opportunity to cover this past week. So let's get into it. Let's make it happen. All right. So first things first, man, if you all did not know, and honestly, I'm going to be very clear. This is not even something that I've seen a lot of people talk about, right? So we have the Las Vegas HBCU Classic that's happening. And I really think it's a really cool thing because you're taking not only HBCU to Las Vegas, but you're also taking Jackson State and Grambling to Las Vegas. Now, here's the funny thing about that, right? Let's talk about just straight band before we get into everything else, right? Because this is ultimately what we do. We have other conversations, but let's really talk about Grambling and Jackson State. First of all, as we know, Jackson State is Jackson State right now. If anybody can argue, but I'm going to tell you right now, Jackson for me is right at the top as we talk about HBCU marching bands. And anybody who can deny that, you have got to give me some straight validity as to why you have to disagree with that. All right. But here's my thing. Did anybody watch Grambling and Texas Southern? Did anybody watch that? Because I'm going to tell you like this. I am not always the biggest fan of what Grambling produces. I'm just going to be very honest. However, Grambling and Texas Southern I felt was a little different. I felt like there was a lot more cohesion in sound. I felt like there was a lot more clarity in what they were playing. I felt like they were better and well prepared for that game that I had seen them previously. Now, we're talking about stands. We're talking about stands right now because I'm going to be kind of honest when it comes to halftime with Grambling. If you've seen them once, you've seen them all. Am I off on that? Am I wrong on that? Because that just kind of what it is, right? But when we're talking about the stands performance, I can definitely say that Grambling has, stepped up a big way versus Texas Southern. And if that Grambling is the Grambling that Jackson is going to see, then I think we're going to be in for something really good and really spectacular as this event unfolds. But here's the other half of that, right? When was the last time a band has been to Las Vegas? HBCU band in particular. Like taking HBCU band to Las Vegas is a huge thing. First of all, so I got to be honest with y'all. I got to be honest with the audience, honest with my people. I'm an NBA guy, right? I love watching basketball. I love the NBA. I didn't even know the Raiders was in Las Vegas. I'm going to be honest. When did this happen? Like, when did this happen? I didn't know this was a thing. But I'm saying all that to say, I don't know how many people or have had the HBCU experience from a band perspective, but just in general in the Las Vegas area. And now you're taking that to, you're taking Jackson and Grambling to Las Vegas in that space in the Raiders Stadium. I think that's dope. I think that's a win-win, right? I think that's awesome. And so I want to be able, I wish that in this process, they would have found a way to set up whether it was a gym battle or some type of, floor battle, kind of similar what they do with Grambling and Southern, just something to just really, really push and expose the HBCU band culture. I think that would have like really kicked it off, and I think that would have been dope, right? But again, just to be able to have these two programs together, HBCU programs together in Las Vegas, I think is dope. Now, this is happening tomorrow. This is going down tomorrow. So if you haven't picked up your tickets, or I don't know who's going to be there, I'm pretty sure one of the big name videographers is going to be there, whether, it's A1 or whether it's Showtime, or I don't know if Justin's going to make his trip out there. Malik, I don't know if you're going to head out there or not, but either way, I know that there's going to be some kind of coverage and or footage that's going to be on this, and I can't wait to see it. I'm definitely curious to see what you guys' thoughts are in the comment section about this particular program or this thing going down. Again, Jackson, Grambling, we get that Texas Southern Grambling, I think we're going to be in a good ballpark. If we get the PV Grambling, this is going to be a massacre. I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, hey, this is not me trying to down talk anybody, but you guys know if you come to my channel, I'm going to be super honest on, what I see and what I hear. And I ain't trying to do it a negative way, but I'm just going to keep it real. Brian going to be there? Okay, cool. So, yeah, I knew somebody was going to be there. Somebody was going to be in the building getting some footage for us and getting some footage for the people out there. So I'm gonna make sure that I keep my ear to that, man. I think that's super awesome. But speaking of battles, speaking of bands, speaking of all those things, there's another HBCU band thing that is going down that I don't think that we're getting a lot of information. No, I ain't gonna say a lot of information, but I don't think the news is really big. I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. And when I saw it pop up, I was like, man, all right, this is pretty cool. I don't think this is bad. So if you guys don't know, Weber Marketing has decided that they are going to take their stuff to Florida, and they are going to have the Pepsi National Battle of the Bands in Florida, in Palm Beach, right? In Palm Beach. First of all, let me start out by saying this. Shout out to Weber Marketing. Okay. They've been in this they've been in this process for 12 years. And what I can honestly say, as a spectator, as somebody who's been in the building multiple times, who's sat back and watched it over and over again, I've seen continuous growth of the Pepsi National Battle of the Bands every time that they've gone out. And what I've also appreciated is the fact that every time that they've done it, you have seen significant change somewhere. Whether it was traveling for the band programs, or whether it was funding, or the process. So all of these things I think are great things. And what I also like is the fact that he's taking risks. He's going out there. He has an idea. He gets it. He pushes it forward. And now they're going out to Florida. So this is not moving away from the Houston area. So I want to make sure I make this clear, because so the first thing is, understand what I try to do. I try to get as much information as I possibly can. And then if I throw my little sprinkle of opinion in there, y'all already know I'm gonna do that, right? So this is not moving away from the Houston Battle of the Bands, the Houston Pepsi National Battle of the Bands. This is an expansion of the National Battle of the Bands market. And so I think it's really dope what's happening. So it's, to my understanding, they're going to have 6 bands, but they haven't announced the 6th band. So right now they're kind of, I don't know, and this is my speculation. This is not what's true. I don't know if they're waiting for a contract to be signed or for somebody to agree, or they just want to pop out and show people, right? But right now on the ticket, on the East, so you already know how they do it for the National Battle of the Bands. They have one couple of bands play to one side. They got a couple of bands play to the other side. So for the East, we got Bethune-Cookman, Florida Memorial, and A&T. Now let's be real. If you're in West Palm Beach, you already know you're gonna have to have some Florida bands. It's almost like if you're in Houston, you gotta get Texas Southern or Prairie View, right? Or both in the same room at the same time. So that's what you gotta have Bethune, you gotta have Florida Memorial. I wouldn't be surprised if FAM popped up in this thing, right? It just, to me, it only makes sense to have some of your homegrown in the showcase, right? Now, here's the other half of that. HBCU culture is not absent to Florida. It's not absent to Florida, so we can't act like this is, oh my gosh. But the process of this whole thing is what's new. And I think that's what's great. And especially in the location, because they're supposed to be having it at FAU. And so bringing that culture not only to FAU, but also bringing the HBCU band culture and the National Battle of the Band experience to Florida, I think is super dope. And so they're supposed to be doing the same thing that they do in Houston. They're going to have the step show and the college fair and all of that. And I think that's great. One of my thought processes and concerns, and I'm just going to be honest. Y'all know how I am, right? You bring a band to a national or to a battle of the bands or a showcase. Do you bring a band to a showcase? And I'm going to talk about that in a very quick second. But you bring a band to a showcase, and then you're always wondering what it looks like on the back end of them. You know what I'm saying? So, and what I'm talking about is the fiduciary aspect, right? Obviously, you're going to bring them in, you know, and I'm hoping that you're going to bring them in. They're going to pay for it, or you're going to pay for it, so on and so forth. But my question is, when they leave, are they leaving with a substantial amount to be able to substantiate their traveling, the kids, all the things? Now, this is taking place on Martin Luther King. I think it's some MLK weekend. So 9 times out of 10, those kids won't be in school anyway. So it's not like they're missing class. I'm assuming that's a big assumption there. But again, that's what I'm thinking about, right? I like the fact that Weber Marketing has done a great job of giving $2.4 million to the universities that have participated in the National Battle of the Bands in the last, 12 years. I think that's dope, right? But again, my concern is always on the directors and the students. As a former band director, I don't even like to call myself a former band director. As a director, that is always going to be what's going to be prevalent on my mind. Not only are you hosting this showcase, which I think is great, to be able to get the HBCU experience or HBCU band experience to a lot of people, get kids signed up for scholarships, so on and so forth. High school kids signed up for scholarships. I think all that is great. At the end of the day, though, when these bands are coming here, what are we doing with them financially? Are we making sure that they are taken care of financially? And that's where I'm always thinking about. Is the trip, is the showcase worth it? Right? And that's where my brain is. FAMU and Cookman already usually be on their South Florida tour around this time. Right. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't, in my opinion, you gotta have one of the two, if not both. That's why I say I wouldn't be surprised if FAM ends up being the 6th band. And then obviously Weber Marketing, you know, if I'm not mistaken, he is a Southern guy. You got to have Southern in there when you pop out and show people on the first time. It wouldn't make any sense. Plus, you got to also remember, man, let's be clear. You're already in Florida and you got Bethune. That's a draw, right? For all the Florida people. But we also know that Southern, in and of itself, the jukebox is a draw. And can we talk about the massive change that the jukebox has had in these last couple of games? Can I take a pause on talking about this showcase for a second to say the jukebox is not the same jukebox that the year started with. And I will go so far as to say, when they were the first performance they had, I think it was National Battle of the Bands. I think they were there. It was either them or Jackson. It was somebody. Anyway, the first performance they had, I remember I was like, all right, cool. Southern is coming out being Southern. And then it dipped a little bit, right? And for whatever reason, whether it was trying to figure out who they are, trying to figure out the arranging styles, whatever it was. And then they went to California. They cut fat, and then all of a sudden it was like, yo, this is it. This is it. And from there, it's been upward mobility. So when I saw the fifth between Southern and PV, I was like, all right, Southern. Okay. This what we doing? Cool. I just want to make sure that I recognize that, because let's be real, man. Southern was getting trashed at the beginning of this season. Southern was getting trashed at the beginning of this season. And whatever your reason or rationale is for people out there who was saying that Southern ain't the same no more, kid gotta go, all of these different things, for whatever your rationale was, Southern, can we all agree cohesively? Can we all agree that Southern is trending back up? Can we all agree on that? I'm just saying. I know I had to take a pause from talking about, the Pepsi National Battle of the Bands, but I had to go ahead and give props where props is due. And here's the thing. I didn't think Southern was bad. I didn't think Southern was terrible. Again, I just felt like they were in the process of trying to find, with the multiple arrangers that they have, trying to find what works for this new iteration of Southern, right? Because let me take it a step further. This is not specific to Southern, what I'm about to say. As a band director, you never get the same band that you had the year before, right? You never get the same band that you had the year before, especially when you start talking about adding new areas of leadership in certain places, right? Because you bring on new thoughts, new ideas, new perspectives, so on and so forth. And so sometimes you have to reinvent yourself. Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, hey, man, this worked for the last group, but this may not work for this group. So I really believe that in my heart of hearts, I didn't think that that was an issue with Southern. I think that they were trying to develop what this iteration of Southern looks like. And so now I think they found it. And then they brought out and then what? Now they can't stop playing. They can't stop playing it. They can't stop playing it. And sometimes you got to go back to the classics. Sometimes you have got to go back to the classics. I was excited when they played, I think it was Get It On during the PV battle. I ain't heard them play that in a while. So sometimes you gotta go back to ground zero and rebuild in order to be able to find where you're supposed to be. That's happening right now with me. See, now I gotta let y'all into my personal life. From a production standpoint, from an audio engineering standpoint, right now, there are some things that are happening. So I got to go back to ground zero. I got to go all the way back to the first scene I ever set and then rebuild my whole set again. And sometimes you have to do that to build clarity, to find yourself, to find something new, to find something better. So all in all, I think that they're upward mobility. I like where they're trending. But yeah, getting back to the National Battle of the Bands, you got to have Southern. They're a draw. You can't act like they're not a draw. And then y'all know Southern. Southern gonna bring 480 caravan people with them. You're not going to say Southern is going to be somewhere and you're not going to see a caravan of 1,500 cars with the little Southern flag daddy on their car. It's just like you already know what's up. And then you got A&T. Let's be real. A&T is not going to miss an opportunity to showcase halftime. They're not going to miss an opportunity to showcase a field show. I don't care what you say. A&T is not going to miss an opportunity to showcase a field show at all. Now, if you're talking about just purely stands battle, roll of the dice if you see them. But if you say field show, oh yeah, they there. They there. Without question. Unless they already got a performance on the books, you know they're there. They there. And then you got South Carolina State, which, first of all, I'm actually glad to be able to see them getting out and doing a lot more. And then they've picked up some numbers, so I think that's great. So to be able to see them, giving them a space to be able to continue to show their growth, show what they've been doing, new band director, so on and so forth. I think that's great. So all in all, man, if I'm not mistaken, the tickets haven't gone on sale yet. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm curious to know who's going to end up going. I know obviously people in Florida are going to go, but who's talking about traveling to Florida to see this Pepsi National Battle of the Bands? Let me look at some of these comments real quick. Take a pause. You're talking about when I stopped for Southern. Yeah, them cold chicken boxes. Them cold chicken boxes, man. You know what? One of the things that blows my mind about those cold chicken boxes is that, when you are in undergrad, you don't really be thinking about it. I mean, like, you think about it, but you don't really think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you didn't got done performing, so it's like anything with seasoning on it is good at that point. But the reality is that do you like deserve better? Like, as a performer, shouldn't you get better? Like, I think, and this is the way that I think, right? I'm like, wait a minute. We are the ones who worked hard, right? Worked super hard, went out there and did a performance for you, brought the people into the seats, right? Because if it wasn't for us, if it wasn't for the performing bands, there would be nobody in the seats. And then you provide a cold chicken box or a sandwich box, right? I just think that is such a disservice. I just think that's just me. I just think it's a disservice. You can get a hot meal, set one of the little hospitality rooms up with the little what are they, the little silver tray platters joint with the little the propane heater joint on the bottom. Give them hot food. Let them go around. That I just think that to me just makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. Southern had one bad game. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I can't say that they had one bad game because I wouldn't be able to justify what that game is. I don't know. Tell me the one bad game that Southern had, and then I could probably agree or disagree. I can't really say that I know that they had one bad game. What I could honestly say is, I believe that, again, I just believe that there were just some decisions or not decisions, but they were in the process of just trying to find themselves. And I think that's just kind of the kind of where it's at. I don't think that they necessarily had one bad game. Like, again, I would have to know or see what that one bad game is to be able to justify. BCU said they're going to Jackson. I don't know. I don't know. Did BCU say they were going to Jackson? If they are, you already, I mean, it's not going to be a secret. You already know what you're going to get, right? You know that without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to get a really good field show. You know that. It's going to be a clean field show. But you know them stands, it's not, I mean, you already know the stands is not going, it's going to leave much to be desired. I mean, we already know what the deal is with that. That's not going to be anything new. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, it is what it is. But I don't know. I don't know if they said that they were going to Bethune or not. I mean, they were going to Jackson or not. Don't forget, man, if you guys want me to review a band program, man, just go ahead and drop the super chat. Also, if you want to just drop a super chat, just say, man, appreciate you. Love what you're doing, Luke, man. Go ahead and do that too. Want to pop in and go ahead and hit to this next story. So we're going to take it a little bit off of the band world for a second, but this popped up on my timeline. And honestly, not only did it pop up on my timeline, but a lot of people sent it to me. I definitely wanted to cover it during the LBR, but we will cover it right here, right now.
And the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity has been suspended from Southern University's campus in Baton Rouge. The Beta Sigma chapter of that fraternity is now under a cease and desist order following allegations of misconduct by some of its members. In a letter, they're being investigated by university police for potential violations of the hazing policy and the student code of conduct. Until that investigation is finished, members can't be involved in Greek life or campus-oriented events. Let's get
We just had a major situation where somebody passed away. And again, this isn't specific to Alpha. So I want to make sure I make that very clear. And also, let me also say this. There right now is just under the sense of allegations, right? But everything should be shut down. Everything should be shut down. Shut it all down. I don't care what school you at. I don't care what traditions you have. It should all be shut down. We should go back to COVID time processes at this point. I'll meet you virtually. Because again, this situation is specific to allegations, but the truth of the matter is that because, and shout out to the, I gotta say it, the New Orleans battle that's going down with both programs, or not programs, but you know, both teams, No Limit and Cash Money. And don't get me wrong, I rock with Cash Money. Don't get me wrong, No Limit is dope, but I rock with Cash Money, right? But the block is hot, bro. The block is hot. Shut it all down. Because anything at this point can be seen as a hazing allegation. And why put yourself, any organization, why put yourself in that position? It don't matter what it is. Anything can be misinterpreted. Hey, man, hey, can you run to the store for me right quick and go pick it up? If they go pick me up a juice. If they don't want to do it, then they're gonna feel like And we don't want to give anybody that room to be able to say that. Shut it all down. Meet in the classroom. Go virtual. Lord. Didn't Fort Valley didn't their band program just get activated again? Didn't people get arrested for that? The block is hot. Anything can be interpreted. And again, this is just allegations. It's so weird having this mic on, by the way. I left my other mic at work. But again, this can be allegations. Why would you put that on yourself? And I don't know if it's young minds. I don't know if it's trying to keep traditions. I get, first of all, I don't get the young mind part. I don't know. Listen, I value, if I'm an undergrad, I value wanting to be able to graduate. That's what I value. And if the decision is keep a tradition or getting my degree, traditions go out the window, brother. I'll meet you on the Zoom call. Zoom call is 7:00. I ain't trying to come at 7:00. All right, brother, go. Hey, come. If it's coming 7:05. Now, if you don't want to make 7:05, you just ain't gonna be in. Ain't nothing I can do about that at that point, right? But again, the block is hot, and real talk, unless your organization is in dire need of bodies, like active bodies, I just be like, hey, we gonna take a year off. But man, I hate to see that. I hate to see that, brothers. I hate to see that. As a member, I hate to see that. Now, what I will also say too is, again, this is allegations. There is no, thus far, there is no concrete evidence. Hence the reason why everything that I said was not directed specifically towards Beta Sig or Alpha in general, because it's all allegations right now. And right quick, man, I want to definitely say shout out to everybody who's having their homecoming. Norfolk State University is having their homecoming. This is definitely homecoming weekend. I will not be in attendance, but I'm always going to shout out Norfolk State University. Behold the green and gold, 50 years of the Spartan Legion. So I definitely want to make sure that I give that shout out too. I think I still got this on here real quick. I don't even like to use this unless it's for Talk That Talk, but I got to do it. There we go. 50 years of the Spartan Legion. So I want to make sure that everybody has a happy and safe homecoming. And let me talk about homecoming real quick, because there are a lot of people who are upset at some of the rules that are being laid down at some of these homecomings. Like stuff being shut down at like 6:00. People can't enter at certain times and all of these different things. Listen, man. It's getting crazy out here. It's getting wild. There was already a situation that happened in South Carolina State. If I'm not mistaken, it was something that happened at Jackson State. If I'm not mistaken, it was something that happened somewhere else. I think it was LSU or something to that degree. Things are getting out of hand. And a lot of the things, and I'm continue to be inclined to say and feel that most of the things that are happening at these universities, specifically during homecoming time, is not based on the people that actually attended or attend the university. It's the off-campus people. It's the people that ain't got nothing to lose. You got to remember, many of our HBCUs are in the middle of the trap, or at least close to it. So if that's the case, if I'm an outside person who lives in the area, probably never attended, but I see a little young thing who's got their homecoming fit on, because you already know what it is. Everybody gonna get fly for the homecoming, male and female alike, right? And I see a bunch of little young things going in. Well, I want to be a part of that atmosphere. They look like they having a good time, free food and drink. Let me roll up. And you know, a lot of stuff don't even go down till it's later. So of course people are going to try to shut it down earlier. Is that fair? In my opinion, is that fair to the alumni? Not really. And the reason why I don't believe it's fair to the alumni, because you have people like me, my age and older, who've been to homecoming tailgates and been up to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, or when we were in undergrad, we would watch the alumni do it. So we want that experience. But safety is a thing. And let's also be honest. These homecoming tailgates are getting bigger and bigger. They're not what they used to be. When these tailgates are starting to look like mosh pits, people got to stand shoulder to shoulder to try to even get around. People got full stages with a DJ set up and everything. Like, it's different. Now, don't get me wrong, that don't make it less fun or entertaining. But what I am saying is that you got to be understanding and realize the safety measures and precautions that these schools are trying to take. And that's not to diminish the alumni experience or the homecoming experience. That's to keep you safe. Does it suck? Yeah, it does suck. For those homecoming programs or those homecoming tailgates that are shutting down at like 5, not 5, because that's to me that's even early, but like 6 o'clock and so on and so forth, for not letting people in. I feel bad for, those who are performing in a game. If you're a football player or a band member, specifically band, because more often than not, we have practiced all week to prepare for the homecoming game. And there are some bands who do pre-show and halftime to perform and entertain you for those two instances. Stay there for a whole game. Got to march back to your band room. Some schools. I ain't gonna say some. You gotta take your uniform off. All that kind of stuff. Some people try to get fly. Some people just go in sweaty clothes. And by the time you get out there, it's over. Is that fair? Not necessarily. But I will say this, and I know maybe it's harsh for me to say, I don't care. Homecoming ain't for you anyway. Hello? You an undergrad still. You in undergrad. Homecoming is for those who are coming home. So if you feel some type of way, undergrad, it's tough. Is it fair? Probably not. But it ain't for you anyway. So the alumni who come from out of town, they didn't got their hotel, they didn't got their fit check, they didn't pregame. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. They didn't pregame, right? They're going to enjoy that time. Not you. You had all week. That's the way that it is perceived. You had concerts. I know back in the day we had the fashion show. Step shows. That's for you. Step show, you win your little money. And shout out to the Iota Xi chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi National Honor Band Fraternity Incorporated, because they definitely just won that. Been a long time. Love to see it. I watched some of the show. Look reminiscent of some of the things that I was putting on stage back then. I like it. But y'all had step shows. You win money. You go do your step show and you win your little money. And if the alumni are there, they cheer you on and give you a lot of kudos and love. But guess what? The tailgate ain't for you. It's a harsh reality. But remember, through it all, the goal is to keep everybody safe. And the old saying reigns true. A few bad apples can spoil the whole bunch. I sound like an old dude now, but it's the truth. Safety. That's what it's all about. Let me read some of these comments. Isn't the Honda Battle of the Bands held the same weekend as this Battle of the Bands? As this battle? Are they even doing Honda Battle of the Bands this year? Is that still a thing? Let me y'all know me. During this time I'm always look. So Honda Battle of the Bands, what is this, 2026? That would be 26. While the specific date and location for the 2026 Honda Battle of the Bands have not been announced, there are details on the major events happening in early 2026. An ultimate HBCU Battle of the Bands. Really? Anybody? I got to look into this. Ultimate HBCU Battle of the Bands will occur on February 21st in Atlanta. And the inaugural 2026 National Battle of the Bands is scheduled. I've already talked about that. Let me go back to the National Battle of the Bands in Florida real quick. One of the things that I did appreciate, because I went out and I watched the press conference. One of the things that I really do appreciate is, yes, the title is National Battle of the Bands. But what I do appreciate is that Weber Marketing doesn't promote it as a battle. They truly promote it as a showcase. They don't promote it as you're going to see these bands go head to head. They say, and I like this. I like the verbiage. You keep the verbiage clear. We are here to showcase what our HBCU bands and HBCU programs can do. And I like that. So I appreciate the fact that they're doing that. Let me look up this ultimate. Anybody had heard of this? The ultimate Battle of the Bands? I don't know anything about that. They got an Instagram. Get ready to witness the ultimate HBCU Battle of the Bands experience on February 21st, 2026. This is by HBCU Culture. Okay. I didn't know they were coming back. Registration is officially open. It's been too long and we missed you. That's what I just said. I didn't know they were coming back. On February 21st, 2026, we close one chapter and ignite a new era. This will be our final show as you know it. And the moment we unveil what's next for HBCU Culture. We're not just throwing an epic event. We're making a film while going live on a national network. Will you be in the room when history happens? The finale will hit different for alumni HBCU marching bands repping the SWAC, MEAC, CIAA, and SEAC or SIAC. I really think it's SEAC though. in an all-out conference showdown for ultimate bragging rights, a featured matchup between two of the baddest HBCU marching bands in the land. A head-to-head clash you'll talk about for years, streamed live as part of our major network launch. All right, so I mean, it's HBCU culture. We've experienced HBCU culture before, and from what I'm understanding, based on this Instagram post, is you got to sign up, you got to register to be a part of it. You know, my concern or my thought process is always going to be, what is the Ducats talking about? What is the payout for these programs participating? That's always going to be my thought process. I thought Honda danced around Super Bowl time. Malik, be outside in 5 minutes with white t-shirt, black pants. You can't say that, man. You cannot say that now. You just can't do that. Somebody's going to interpret that a specific way. And you got to be ready for them consequences, man. All right, man. On to some interesting and lighter news. Are y'all ready for this? If y'all haven't heard it already, Dougie Fresh is a brother of KK Psy. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. First of all, shout out to Prof Snipes, Willie Snipes, Miles College, the Kappa Kappa chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi, for making this happen. I'm really interested on how that conversation went down. Like I'm very, very interested. But I think that's dope. I think it's dope to welcome our national music treasures into our organization, into the bond. I think that's dope. Now, what I will also say is between Langston and Miles, I swear y'all got a competition on who can bring bros in. Now, I'm not saying that in a negative way. I want to make sure I say this, but I applaud the fact that we want to make sure that we highlight and give and honor the brothers, or honor brothers who are deserving of it, that either A, didn't have the chance, or A, started the process, whatever your reason or rationale is. If you are deserving of it, I think you should have it, right? Now, I don't think that we should just give it away like Skittles and M&Ms, right? But I do believe that if you have an opportunity like this to have Dougie Fresh to be a brother, and his contribution to music, and the contribution to music that he's had, and the number of times we have played his music in somebody's dance routine, I think it only makes sense to make him a brother. You know, that to me was, it only made sense for George Clinton to be an Omega, right? It only makes sense for Dougie Fresh to be frat. And I don't think there's anything wrong with making brothers frat who absolutely deserve it. If you did not know this information, I think this is just super dope. I think it's dope. And honestly, I think that when we start looking at our historical musical legends, musicians, rappers, singers, however you want to name it, if we have in some type of way squoze they songs in the band space, specifically HBCUs, they are a contributing factor to why we are who we are. I mean, out of the many times that we've played To Be Real or Got to Be Real over the years, somebody should be Tau Beta Sigma. Just saying. I don't know. That's just, maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off my rocker. Maybe I'm wrong for saying that. Maybe I'm gonna get a whole bunch of bros in my comments like, dude, you just want to give the fraternity away? Like, no, I don't want to give the frat away. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have to be honest in making sure that the brothers who truly deserve it get it. Specifically, if they've made major contributions to what we do. It only makes sense. It only makes sense. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we pass this joint around like trick or treat candy. That is not what I'm saying at all. That's my personal take on that. But shout out to Dougie Fresh, KK Psy, all the things. They had Honda earlier this year in Compton. Yeah. Hey man, y'all got to realize when y'all talk years, y'all got to talk school years. Cause yes, they did have it earlier this year, but it was last school year. So, cause when you say earlier this year, I'm thinking the marching season earlier this year. I'm not thinking spring semester, even though that's what you're referring to. So yes, last school year, they did have it in Compton, which I believe that it went off very well. But there's been no announcement of what's going to happen with Honda in the year of 2026, spring semester 2026, at least from what I can tell and what I've heard. So with that being said, man, I want to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up, man, but I appreciate all of you guys for checking in. If you're watching this on playback, go ahead and leave the comments and all those things. Leave me your thoughts inside of the comment section as well, man, on any of the things that we've talked about. And again, did any of you guys or were any of you all talking about this National Battle of the Bands that's happening in Florida? I think that there needs to be, or there should be, some bigger noise, as well as the Grambling and Jackson State in Las Vegas. And then again, shout out to Dougie Fresh, my frat brother, man. But again, you can go ahead and like, subscribe, share this information out. As I always say, don't forget, you can stop by our store and get anything that you want. You can get 30% off your purchase. All you got to do is, once you put everything in your cart and you're ready to go through it, just type in HBCU band. All right. Also, man, every Friday, I'm back. You'll be seeing some more LBRs from me next week. So be prepared for that. Miss y'all, but it is what it is. But I appreciate y'all for hanging tight with me for this hour, man. I'm about to roll, and y'all be safe. Love y'all. Be safe out there on them homecoming streets. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.